An interesting analysis in this year's Motilal Oswal Wealth Creation Study is the analysis of digital companies. The report is titled From Atoms to Bits. The report says that globally value has migrated from brick and mortar companies to digital companies, that is, from atoms to bits. Now, what is atom? Atom is the smallest particle in physics, smallest physical matter. And here it refers to companies that make steel, cement, power. Bit is the smallest unit of information. And bits companies are your, say, portals like Google, platforms like Facebook, or marketplaces like, say, IndiaMart or Zomato. The brokerage goes on to distinguish more between atom companies and bit companies. Atom companies, it says, have physical assets, land, building, plant, machinery. Bit companies have only a platform, technology, and people. As a result, when an atom company fails, you at least get some value for the land and for the plant. But when a bit company fails, you get nothing. I mean, what will you get from a failed platform? Atom companies, on the other hand, can't be scaled up much. They can be scaled only with a large marginal cost of capacity expansion. But say, for instance, steel, cement, they need big capex money for expansion. Bit companies, on the other hand, can be scaled up with negligible cost. Once the platform is ready, adding on the next Zomato user or even the next 100,000 million Zomato users doesn't cost much. Also, bit companies have more S-curves, as you say in financial accounting. A Zomato can first sell food and then groceries and then medicine, so it's scaling up several times. Atom companies, face some friction while delivering their goods or their service. But bits companies, delivery is smooth. I mean, delivering a book is tough, but delivering by Kindle is not tough for Amazon. Bits companies have an advantage of network. Atom companies don't have that. For instance, if there are many restaurants in a Zomato platform, more buyers will join. As more buyers join, more restaurants will feel that you must be on Zomato. That brings even more buyers. So among atom companies, one sector will have many companies. Market share is split up into 2 or 3 companies. But in bits companies, usually the tendency is for the winner to take everything because of this network effect that we spoke about. Google, for instance, is practically the only search engine. Now, what makes for successful factors for bits companies? First, it should address a large market. Like, for instance, Paytm, it addresses the entire payments in India. Second, the product should be a good fit. Like, for instance, Zomato, it just fit the middle class need for easy access to ready food. Third, wider the distribution, the wider it's able to distribute, the better for these companies. They can, get economies of scale. The network advantages are the most important. Like we explained for Zomato, it just reduces the marginal cost completely. And finally, they should have favorable unit economics. Now, if your platform is good, you will get it. Once that platform piece is ready, an additional customer should mean less and less marginal cost. That would be a very big success factor, the unit cost. Okay, now how do you value these companies? The financials of this, before we come to valuation, the financials of these companies. Motilal Oswal says, old terms like CapEx, OpEx, balance sheet don't work for digital companies or bit companies. Because what is their CapEx? It is a platform, a software, and maybe some talented people. Now, this human capital is fully expensed as employee cost. So initially, the costs are high. You can't distinguish actually between CapEx and OpEx. They have huge initial costs and huge initial losses. And then once the network expands, they have huge profit as new customers can be added at very, very low incremental cost. Okay, now how do you value them? Motilal Oswal gives you some ideas to value. First of all, don't use ROE, ROCE, return on capital employed. That doesn't work. What works is discounted cash flow. Of course, for this, you should have a very good idea of what the sales will be, say 5 years from now. Then you can discount it to the present value. Or you can look at a comparable company in the market and its market cap to sales, what you call price to sales growth. And then, you must have the sales growth right, divided by the sales growth. That would be a very good way to price the company. A third way, of course, is to look at the last private equity investment. They usually have the hang of things. So the last valuation by a private equity or a VC company would be useful. One way is to get the average but of all these three. But the most important thing you have to get right is what is the sales growth. Once you get that growth factor right, it will depend on execution. If it's executed well, the growth is excellent. Now that has to be something that you have to be good enough to measure. Now Motilal Oswal leaves you with one more idea. Whether you are servicing successful digital companies or unsuccessful digital companies, the guy who is doing it is the IT company. So IT companies is a very good way to play the digital revolution. That's one usable idea coming from the 26th Wealth Creation Study from Motilal Oswal.